Welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephen Nguyen. I'm a pharmacist and I have 52 units of real estate. So I've kind of been reflecting on my growth journey, being very transparent on it. And as I've been reflecting, I kind of realized that as you go down your wealth building journey, as you go down a path of entrepreneurship, as you go down a path of success, in order to be the top 5%, the top 1%, whatever that looks like, right? And you're more growth oriented like myself, you love to learn, you love to better yourself, it starts to get more and more lonely. So it's kind of interesting reflecting on my journey. So in the beginning, when I just was a pharmacist, I just graduated in 2013 with $250,000 student debt, was trying to get my first job. A lot of your friends, a lot of your relatives, a lot of your family, they're cheering you on because you're kind of the underdog, right? Like they're cheering you on. And then over time, as you start to become more successful, because it compounds over time, your wealth builds over time. So like from I'd say 23 up to 27 years old, I did graduate pharmacy school at 23, which is a lot earlier than most people. I graduated in 5 years out of high school versus most people take 8 years out of high school. So I had a 3 year kind of head start to build my wealth, to lay a financial foundation, and that starts to compound once I've been out for 10, 11 years. Right, so a lot of people don't realize that's how I became a millionaire at 27, was because I literally graduated at 23 and basically worked my butt off to pay off student loans aggressively and to max out my 401k and to save up for a down payment to buy real estate, and all that compounded, right? So was very fortunate to have a 3 year head start. But kind of backtracking to the story, sorry for the side tangent, is from 23 to 27, I was kind of like the underdog, right? Like, I just graduated, came out with a lot of debt. People feel sorry for you, like, oh, I'm so sorry. You work these crazy hospital hours. I was working as a graveyard pharmacist, working all the holidays at nighttime, bad schedule, no set weekends. People are like cheering for you, like, hey, go on, Steven, I'm rooting for you. But then, at 27, I bought my first property, became a pharmacy director, and then now you start to see people, as you build more success, they don't root for you as much anymore. Like, oh, like I was rooting for you, but now that you're doing better than me, I kind of don't like you anymore, right? And you start to experience that. And for me, I've always been a very transparent person, as you could tell, right? I just say it straight. And back when I was 23 and sharing my mindset, my process, and I was underdog, people rooted for me. And then as it became more successful, right, like I bought my first property at 27, I paid off 250K student loans at 27. I was maxing out my 401k, and that doubled because the stock market did well in 2013, 2017, and I became a pharmacy director. At that point, I'm having less supporters, less people rooting for me, right? And then fast forward again to 2019. Okay, I bought my second home, got a more high paying director job, and I'm sharing my journey and realizing that people aren't liking me anymore, right? So the more wealth and success I've achieved, the more people have hated me, and people who previously rooted for me started to not like me, right? So this is what people don't realize, is that like the same people who are rooting for you early on, once you surpass them in wealth and they see that, now they don't like you because they will root for you and up until the point where you can't be better than them. Like as long as they are better than you, they'll root for you. But the moment you surpass them, they don't root for you anymore, right? So what happens is, at that point, you start to see who are your true friends, who are your true people who really support you, right? Because a lot of people will support you when you're doing worse than them, but the moment they pass you or you pass them, they don't root for you anymore, right? And that's the reality. That's why I say it's lonely at the top, right? Like when you're a pharmacy director and you manage whatever 100 pharmacy staff, it's lonely at the top. When you own a lot of real estate, like 52 units, people start to hate you because they're like, oh, like screw you. I can't even buy my own property, and you own 52. You're greedy, right? Like that's very common. Like, oh, you're so greedy, but like if it was 10 years ago and I'm just a pharmacist trying to save for my first house, people are rooting for me. And then fast forward 10 years later, they'll be like, oh, screw you, you own so much real estate, right? Like, so it's very interesting in that way. And that's why it's really good to surround yourself with friends who are more spiritual and they don't really compare to see how you're doing. Like, oh, who has a better car? Who has a better house? Who has a better net worth? Who makes more money? This never ending comparison trap. But instead, you want those who are spiritual and like, hey, they're just happy to see you do better. They're happy to see you be happy. They're just happy for you, right? They don't compare themselves against you. And those types of friends are very hard to come by. And if you have one like that, keep them, right? Because it's valuable, and they'll still be around as you start building up your wealth, right? Like for me, I've gotten burned a lot because at work I was super transparent, right? Like I remember when I was 29, I was working at a hospital in Long Beach, and I was just like super transparent. But then I could tell behind my back because you could hear like, oh, he doesn't even need to work. Like, why is he here? Like, why is he bossing me around? Like, he owns all this real estate. He's just doing this for fun. Like, he's not taking it seriously. You hear all this type of stuff, right? And people say that because it's protecting their ego because they don't think it's possible when they see somebody around their age doing better than them. A defense mechanism is to kind of put that person down so that they make themselves feel better, right? It's a natural instinct, and I get it, right? I was doing it too, right? Like for me, I used to always think, oh, rich people are evil. Rich people are never happy. But I never once thought, oh, why can't you be rich and happy? Or maybe he is a good person, or he or she's a good person, and I'm just projecting hate because they make me feel uncomfortable, right? Or they're achieved what I want to achieve, and I feel bad, so I'm gonna bash them to make myself feel better, right? So once you kind of remove that and don't hate on people more successful than you, but rather say, you know what? He came from nothing and he made it, so I can do the same thing too. And that's always was always my approach. Like literally, I never thought, oh, I hate people who own apartments. They're rich. They came with a golden spoon. They're greedy. Instead, I say, you know what? This guy, this person, is exactly like me. They work at W-2 and they bought an apartment complex. So now I know it's possible, right? And once you know it's possible, it opens up your brain to creativity. It opens up your brain to opportunity, and that's how you truly become successful. Like I literally thought only rich people own apartments, and then I joined a mentorship, and all of a sudden, everyone was exactly like me, working W-2, working professional, white collar job, W-2, working professional, and they were buying apartment complexes. So I was like, you know what, I can do this too, right? It's just like running the 4 minute mile. It used to be impossible until one person broke that 4 minute mile. Now multiple people can do it, right? So that's why I'm sharing my journey, because I want to inspire others to do the same. Like you can literally buy an apartment complex while working full time, and I bought it when I was like 31 years old, right? It is possible. You don't have to be full time real estate to own real estate. You can have a W-2. It's possible, right? You don't have to be super rich. Like people think my apartment complexes cost $2-3 million. I bought my first one for $500,000. I bought my second one for $350K. Albeit it's value add, so I put a lot of money to renovate it, but it's possible, right? Even like YouTube, I literally saw a YouTube channel. This guy has like 1.8 million subscribers, and he never edits a video. He has no thumbnail. And then I said, huh, that gave me hope. Like he's an Asian guy who just talks about the news, and he blew up and he does no editing, so I don't have to edit either. Like at first, that's what was holding back from YouTube for the longest time. Like, oh, I don't want to edit. Like I don't want to pay for editing. I don't want to edit it myself. I don't want to think about it. But I see people who don't edit and they made to 1.8 million subscribers, and I'm like, oh, it's possible. I don't care to get to 1.8 million subscribers. If I can get to like 18K, I'd consider that a success, or whatever, right? Like I don't need to be that high, but now I know it's possible. So just keep on doing what I'm doing, and I'll get there. Like, oh, I don't hate on this guy because he's made it. Instead, I'm inspired by this person, right? So once you kind of reframe that mindset, it helps attract success to you, right? So like for me, and what's interesting is like I want people to surpass me, right? That's why I'm sharing my journey. It should be easier for you than it was for me, right? That's the whole point of progressing society. And like by joining a mentorship, it made it easier for me to buy apartments, and now I've made it easier for others to buy apartments too, right? And that's what inspired me to do my coaching program, my mentorship program, to give a lot of value and give you the reality on YouTube, right? Like I just shoot straight with people, and I shoot straight on my channel. You all know that follow me. I just tell the truth as it is, the good, the bad, the ugly. And if you can get through all that, then maybe you should buy real estate. If you don't like it, then great, that's fine. It's not for you, and you learn that lesson for free. Cost you some time. So it's really kind of going back to my original topic. As you build more wealth, as you become more successful, you'll start to see that people aren't going to root for you as much. They're not going to relate with you. So at work, I really don't talk much about my side hobby of real estate, side hustles. Unless they ask me, I'll kind of be vague about it. But before, I used to freely open, like, oh yeah, I just made an offer on a 20-unit apartment complex. I just made an offer on a 20-unit apartment complex. And, I was just rubbing people the wrong way. So that's what inspired me to create my channel. I was like, you know what, everyone doesn't want to listen to me, so let me go talk on the camera, post this random video on YouTube, and maybe strangers will listen to my video and find value from it, and maybe I can build a community or something, right? Or find like-minded people. And that's the whole basis of my YouTube channel, right? Like I don't expect much out of it. It's just an outlet for me to share what I learned, right? Worst case, I just post these videos for my future kids to watch, right? That's the worst case scenario, and I don't mind doing that. So, any case, hopefully this gave you kind of some insight as to what it's really like as you go down the wealth building journey. People who support you when you're underdog will not support you once you made it and once you're successful. Like kind of a joke would be like, "Oh, hey, I'm rooting for you when you're not when you're nobody. Once you made, like, oh, look at you, big guy, huh? Too big, too great for us little people." You start to hear comments like that all the time, right? In a joking way, but you know what they really mean and what they intend. So that's why now, if you meet me in person, I'm very hush hush about it, about my wealth and my success. But on YouTube, I'm pretty transparent about it. So it's an interesting contrast to that. So in real life, people don't know unless they watch my YouTube channel, then they'll know. So, anyways, let me know if you have any comments or questions below. Let me know if you want to discuss any other video topics. Happy to discuss anything. Please like, comment, subscribe. Share this video with somebody who's going down that wealth building journey and they need the hard truth. If you're interested in joining my mentorship program for multifamily, check out my link down below. You can send me an email if you want a discount code. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.